Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Indie Tuesdays. I'm your host Benjamin Dupay, and joining me on the panel today is Andrew Ace Southern.
That's me.
And Bro Mondo Burnside.
Oh, so by the way, I was thinking it should be Bro Mondo of Burnside. Like,
oh yeah,
right? Like Batgirl, right?
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. I like it. What do you think on this?
Hey,
you want to weigh in on it?
Whatever's clever, whatever works.
Whatever works. Okay, cool. Well, that's fine with me. So yeah, it's episode 6 of Indie Tuesdays. And we are your independent comic book overlords. This week in Image Comics, we're investigating some spacey murder mysteries in Hadrian's Wall, watching some giant lion-headed dragons chow down on humans in Reborn, and making magic happen in real life in Green Valley number 3. Join us as we discuss this and more on Indie Tuesdays. All right. So first off, how we doing this week?
Good,
Fantastic.
Good week this week. Getting closer to Christmas, I guess, which is exciting for some people.
Dude,
I don't know.
I don't know. I love Christmas and everything, but sometimes it just gets a little crazy.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Thanksgiving guy, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm kind of a Scrooge sometimes, man. It's so materialistic sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just really not about that. I don't know.
See, my wife has divorced parents. I have divorced parents, so I just end up traveling the whole time, and all I really want to do is just
4 Christmases.
Yeah, exactly. Totally that movie. 100% my life for like a week.
We're gonna skip it and just go to Maui.
Yeah, and
we seriously talked about that.
Yeah, it's that way for me too, man. It was, you know, I had Christmas with my mom and Christmas with my dad, which there's some good memories there. But lately, I don't know, when you become an adult, it just seems like everyone's obsessed with like receiving presents or giving presents.
Yeah.
I don't need any more shit in my apartment, man. I just don't. Like you see my place. Like I need nothing else. You know, actually though, I should say like I did get a pretty sweet book that you guys are looking at.
Oh yeah.
If my dad does happen to listen to this podcast.
It's like
you need to post that on Twitter, man. This thing is like, if you can get a full shot of this thing.
Yeah, when you do, make sure you put something next to it for size comparison. Like, because it's like
a small person.
It's a regular size book. No, it's not.
Well, yeah, and
it's like the size of your chest, if not bigger.
For those listeners out there, what we're talking about is I got like the entire history of Marvel Comics in a book. This book is, how tall would you say that is? Maybe 2.5, 3 feet, something like that. Yeah, 2.5, 3 feet tall, probably about 8 or 9 inches thick. Maybe somewhere around there. I don't know. It's big.
About 3 inches,
Oh, maybe 3 inches. Yeah. Oh, whatever. I'm exaggerating. No, it's
tall
big
tales.
though. Yeah, and I took a photo of myself with it just to show someone, and it didn't do it justice. Like, because I'm a
You're
big
a tall
guy.
dude, yeah.
Yeah,
you should stand up like next to a can of soda or something.
Right,
or like a regular magazine.
I just need to set a can of soda on it, and like that'll
like a regular book or something.
It's like, I don't know if you guys seen that picture. There's a picture of like J.J. Watt, Yao Ming, and Shaq or something like that.
Yeah.
And they just make J.J. Watt look like tiny.
And J.J. Watt's not a small man.
He is massive.
He's like what, 6'4"?
Yeah,
6'5".
But Yao's
really?
like 7'2" or something.
Yeah.
That's like this book is Yao Ming of books.
I know none of these people. Are these like sports
okay.
people? Or?
Sports figures, yeah.
We'll get you.
Maybe I went over the head of our listeners there, but
Yeah, well, you know, I
for
don't
the
know,
sports
man.
enthusiasts out there.
Yeah, there you go. That'd be me.
I'm a Packers fan, but that's mostly just because my family is Packers fans and stuff. It's kind of a familial obligation to like that team. So, before we go any further, I do want to let everyone know if they want to reach out to us, they can do so at nerdchurchradio@gmail.com. We do encourage people to, you know, interact with us, ask us questions. If you think there's something that we can answer that Google somehow can't answer for you, then, you know, reach out to us. I don't know. If you want to check out our written reviews, you can check them out at nerdchurchradio.com. We have written reviews, previews to comic books that we're excited about. We also have like a survey on there if you want to let us know how we're doing or whatever. And then one last plug I have is for our Patreon page. So something new that we're starting with Patreon, and I don't know if I told you guys this or not, but on the DC show, we've started a weekly show called Sunday School. and it's exclusive content that's only for our patrons.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's a 30 to 40-minute show, and we talk about one of the characters from the DC books that week, and we go into a history lesson on it.
That's really cool.
Like Sunday school, it lasts about 30 or 40 minutes. And, to get access to that show, all you have to do is donate $1 a month or $1 or more a month, and that's the exclusive content that you get.
Yeah, why not give them something for, reward them for being loyal?
No, we should do.
Yeah.
I'm going to spring this on you, but we should do, I could make some prints or something. Something like
send them
that.
a custom print signed by you.
Yeah.
I dig that.
Well, I was actually thinking, because in January, we're going to be having a contest for iTunes reviews. Awesome. So where, if you give us an iTunes review, you're entered into a contest to win something. And we really like to put together a little package for the winner. So if you want to donate a print to the package, that'd be cool.
Yeah, sign that.
We're going to put some we're going to put some comic books in there, maybe a graphic novel. We're going to make it worth your time.
Toss
so, we're going to buy one of the exclusive pop figures.
Can we enter this, or is this only for listeners?
Not for you. No. Actually, it was funny because the last time we did this, I gave away a loot crate, and Travis gave us a review before he joined the show.
Oh no!
And then he joined the show before the month was over, and I was like, "Sorry, man, you're out of thanks for the review now, but you're
right.
Can't have you winning." So I feel like our listeners would get pretty pissed off if we we're
check out this sweet gift that I gave myself.
Andrew, thank you so much for signing this.
Yeah,
man.
One of our hosts won the thing. Yeah, that would be pretty fucked up to do, I think. So, one final announcement before we get back to business is the show's moving. Actually, we're packing our bags. We're moving to Indie Comic Ninja's channel.
Oh, cool.
Yep. We're going to keep this channel that you're listening to right now is going to be NCR Network, DC Comics. This channel is only going to be covering DC Comics. And then Dexter's channel, Indie Comic Ninja, is where you're going to find anything that NCR has to offer on indie comics. So it's going to have Indie Tuesdays, where we talk about mostly Image comic books or some indie books. But then it's also going to have his monthly show where he interviews creators and stuff. And he's kind of going to be the manager of that. I mean, I'll still run the Tuesdays show, but that's going to be his thing. So
it fits. It fits. Makes sense.
Yep. So after this week, if you want to hear Indie Tuesdays, just look in the iTunes store or the Google Play Store or anywhere that we are and check out Indie Comic Ninja, and that's where we will be located. So
nice.
That's pretty exciting, though. We're branching out, and this channel is just full of shows, man. We have now 3 shows that we do on this channel.
It'll be nicer for organization, I think, for people to find. Yeah,
because I do know that there's people that only listen to the Indie Tuesdays show, and they're kind of like, I also get 3 DC shows, but I don't really listen to it. So we don't want to crowd people's feeds with that. So
got to hunt for it and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Other than that, that's all we have for news. This week we are going to be doing something with the books. Mondo, what are we going to be doing with the books this week?
What are we going to be doing with the books? Andrew.
We're going to be spoiling them?
We're going to be spoiling the comic books this week.
That?
I know, we are. So this week we're going to be covering Reborn. Earmuffs. Reborn number 3, Green Valley number 3, and Hadrian's Wall number something. I'm not sure. I should probably
I think it's 4. Hadrian's Wall number 4.
Is it? Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Hadrian's Wall number 4. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so we're going to be spoiling these books. Anything from plot beats to character developments to ultimate endings and stuff like that, we're going to be going into it. So, if you haven't read them yet, just turn us off, because Image books are probably not something you want spoiled for yourself. So they're just something you should experience firsthand. Other than that, let's just go ahead and get down to business. First off, we have Reborn number 3. So what kind of gift do you buy for your dead father that's been reborn into a fantasy world and is now leading a bunch of warriors against all those assholes from the Darklands?
That's a tough one.
Maybe a ficus or
the cheese log and that stuff doesn't work.
Yeah,
right?
something like
cheese
that.
log.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, nothing screams "Hey Dad, I missed you" better than the newest issue of Reborn number 3, written by Mark Miller and drawn Greg Capullo. You like that? Yeah. Okay. So this book takes us on a wild and crazy journey with Bonnie, a lovely young lady that has just won the lottery and been killed, reborn into a world called Adistria, I think it is. Adistria, yeah. And told that she gets to be the chosen one, which it's your lucky day, I guess, but that's not all. Bonnie also gets a first-class ticket over to the Darklands where she can hang out with that cute little cat of hers that died years ago. But it's not any ordinary house cat. This cat has also been reborn as a kitty assassin that wants to brutally murder Bonnie for cutting its nuts off at the tender age of 9 months old. Bonnie's been captured and taken to the Darklands with her dear old dead dad, where she finally realizes, hey, what am I doing here? I'm the chosen one. Why am I acting like such a wussy baby? So she decides to start kicking ass and escapes the Darklands with her father. So then the book continues with Bonnie being tricked by someone who's like, they're trying to escape the Darklands, and this guy's like, hey, come here, I'll help you escape. And he opens his jacket or his cloak or something, and it's a teleportation thing or a portal, and they're like, yeah, sweet, we're gonna escape. They go through the portal and they get transferred into a crazy prison where her and her father will surely be tortured until their dying breath. So that's where we at,
real
man.
Upper.
That's real fun.
You're so optimistic about their plight.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that's what it looks like. I don't think her father's gonna live much longer.
It looks pretty grim. There's some pretty sweet action going on in that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if we can dive right in.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty. I thought it was pretty crazy. Like right in the beginning, I was like, "Oh, this is cool." Picks up nice little thing going on. Hey, it's Ernie, whatever the mechanic guy.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Hey, man, he's all cheesing and smiling. All of a sudden, snack, and he gets eaten by like a dragon
that has
with the head of a lion.
Head. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, that's a nice way to start the issue." I was like, second panel.
I know, right? It's like, come on, give me a second here.
It's really great, man.
I was like, they're not playing around.
But the creativity and some of the fantasy animals and like weird stuff that's happening, creatures in this world is really cool. Like I love this illustration of where this dude about gets eaten. It's so cool.
Which one?
Right, and it's like a second page. Okay. There's like this big illustration filling up most of the page where you can see like the dragon wing.
Yeah, that's the
like
guy.
that.
That's the Ernie guy who gets snacked on.
I love the shot though. Like, it's so sad, but I'm like, oh,
the guy's just like shit.
Like you literally just meet him and then he gets eaten. I was like, oh,
you know what, too? And whenever I read a story like this or something happens to an animal, I always feel bad for the animal. Like I don't really care about like this Ernie dude or whatever gets eaten, but like I'm like, oh, that poor elephant just got snacked up.
Right? Yeah. Peter's gonna have a field day with that one. So man, just crazy though. Like I did a segment on this for Weird Science where I talked about it for a couple minutes, and like I had just gone and seen Star Wars Rogue One, and it's like in a world where you're not really surprised by much anymore. You know, it's like it's kind of cool to have this fantasy world where you literally know nothing about it, and you're being exposed to all this weird stuff, and it's all kind of like a surprise to you.
Yeah. In fact, I had to like take a second and look, like, is that a dude like riding on a flying elephant? You know, like I just had to take a minute to like figure out what's happening.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. I liked it a lot.
I was hoping I was disappointed that he died because I thought we were going to get more like, oh, he's going to start making them he's going to be their mechanic guy. He's going to make them all this cool shit, going forward.
Right.
And he's going to help them like defeat, the Darklands. And then he just gets snacked on the second panel. I was like, oh, never mind, It has almost like a Guardians of the Galaxy type feel in just the weirdness of it. But it's like if you mix Guardians of the Galaxy with like Lord of the Rings or something. Or, I don't know. Right. It's really weird. But very cool too. Well, Andrew, what do you think? I'm excited to hear what you think of the artwork on this book.
Dude, I absolutely love it. Like, and I don't know, for our listeners, go follow Greg Capullo on Twitter. I don't know if he's got Instagram or Tumblr or anything, but he shares his process on Twitter. And I just love seeing, he'll show his rough pencils, his tighter pencils, and he's an awesome artist, man. Like, the dude is insanely good. I'm super jealous of his talents, but the art in it is incredible, man. Like, the only thing that's kind of weird is when the girl shows off her powers here, when she...
Like a flash of her, or what she can do.
Yeah, and it kind of goes into this, like, fuzzy dream state thing. I thought that was a little weird. But
I wasn't a fan. That was probably the only panel in this series so far that I just didn't like very much.
And it's more of like an effect thing too. Like I just thought it could have been shown better, because I don't know if she's like seeing like through like.
It makes me wonder if she's having like one of those moments, kind of like how like Spider-Man does for a second, where he's like, I'm sensing there's someone swinging from behind. Yeah, kind of like you get this tingle going, like they're about to try to fight me, and I'm going to try to do something, and then nothing happens.
See, I thought it was like intense focus or just something, but like you couldn't really tell. Like it's just hard. It's just a weird panel. And
I don't like how they put it in a box that has like rounded edges too, because all of the other edges of the boxes are square. So I don't like it when you put a stroke on anything. So I just personally like, and I'm sure you probably feel the same way. Strokes are bad. Like they just you generally 9 times out of 10 don't need to add a stroke to anything. Like, and so like having this black stroke around this box is like, I don't know, man. I feel
it just makes it look not great.
I'd love to hear why they did it.
I know, and I'm sure, and it could just be, hey, we really want this to stand out and look different, and so let's make it rounded, and rounded is softer. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know. I felt like it just could have been done better, and I think, I don't know. Just maybe it's a colorist thing. Like I don't really like the watercolory type.
I don't know either. Like I don't know who is in charge of that. Like, hey, let's show this effect. You know,
like I feel like you could have just like cut that panel across the entire top third of the page and not have it been in a box and like just straight up, or whatever. I don't know, but I mean, it's kind of a minor gripe.
Exactly, and that's a thing. And something I think is just in something that has so much really, really great art. It's just like one panel that's just like meh, or like could be better. Like really stands out, you know.
And in the end, like how long did people actually look at that panel? You know, like probably.
I went right through it pretty much. I mean, I saw the difference in it, but it didn't really like take me out of it or anything. I was kind of like, oh, is that like her power not working, or what is that?
Right. Yeah. Also, taking kind of an antagonistic approach on this and being a little more critical of it. The Darklands, like, do we really have to call that place the dark? You know, like it feels like a little bit of a cliche type, like that. Well, not even cliche,
the
just
Tower
like
of Light in the Land of Darkness. You know?
Yeah,
and I thought
like
I get it as contrasting, but do we really need to paint it out that way? You know?
Yeah, like I mean, you have a really cool name for the good place, where it's like a dystria. Like that's a really neat name, and it's like it sounds kind of
like Greek or something, right?
Mythological,
like,
yeah.
Well, but hell, even Mordor. I mean, they didn't flat out say the Darklands. You know, it's like it's Mordor. It sounds cool. You know,
right?
You don't want to go there.
Well, and it's a big part of the book too. You know, it's like that's not a little detail. That's something you're going to have to repeat over and over and over again throughout the entire series. So it's like you really should have thought up a better name for that place. Like Mordor was a really good name for Lord of the Rings or something. So that being said, I mean, I do give it I knock a star off for that, because I feel like that's a really big thing to drop the ball on for this.
And something that's easy to change. I mean,
not anymore though.
I mean, not now. Yeah.
No.
Hey, by the way, we're just gonna call this.
It's gonna be like Don Cheadle in Iron Man. He's just gonna show up as a different actor. You know, like
Terrence Howard out, Don Cheadle in.
We're just all gonna pretend nothing happened here. Yeah. As far as the Chosen One abilities, what do you guys think her abilities are?
So I thought,
aside from like kicking ass and taking names,
I thought it was either something where she could like predict what they were going to do, or she could kind of like control them, some kind of
foresight.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because I saw that she had her abilities when her dog kind of flew off the cliff,
when they were fighting.
Also sad. Yeah.
I don't think he's dead though.
No, I don't either. But I thought maybe she saw through him and was able to like guide him to another spot, you know, like to safety. So that's why I was kind of like, well, maybe she can control him in a way, or just, you know, like she somehow knew that like he was okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't think the dog's gone. Do you guys think the dad's gonna be dead at some point soon?
I don't think it's going to happen too soon. I mean,
I feel like she still needs him.
Yeah,
kinda.
Like he's going to help guide her. I think once she gets to the point, and it might be kind of cliche too, I think once she gets to a point where she's a bit stronger and almost, you know, and ready to be who she's going to be.
Yeah.
I think maybe they'll pluck somebody from her.
They kind of did foreshadow though in this book, because she was talking about, I can't remember who it was, but she said, I don't know what I would do without without him.
Right.
And
her husband or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You kind of saw his eye or whatever. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Where like it's like he already knows like that he's in the Darklands or something.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of that going on though.
Yeah, I think
people knowing stuff and not talking about it just yet.
I don't know, man. My prediction for this book is that he's gonna die and tell her some important piece of information in his dying breath, and that's gonna be like, you know, what helps her in her journey.
And then,
okay, I
and
can
then
see
to
that.
be continued
Yeah.
to the next issue.
Yeah.
And that was okay. Yeah, one more thing, like when they trust this dude with a cloak at the end, I just kind of was like, what? like there's some shady character in a shady place who says, hey, check this out, come check out my cloak. Like he looks like he's selling drugs or something.
I wouldn't trust this dude. Okay, let's describe him. He has
I'm a friend and I can hide you.
Yeah,
check out my van.
He has a black cloak on.
This guy looks evil as shit.
The hood is up. All you see are white eyes. There's no face or anything. It's just darkness under the hood and white eyes. And he has a black like cloak on. He opens it up, and his hands are like pale white.
Yeah,
and they're huge. And he's like way taller than them.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass.
Let's go with him.
I'm just gonna keep
he
walking.
seems like a cool guy. Let's see what he has to say.
I mean, what else? Only other thing he needs to be doing right now is offer them like a snack and a juice box. It's like what are we doing? Like, why are we going with him? Oh, he has Lunchables. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We go where the Lunchables are, man. That's what we do.
Yeah, slimy ham and crackers.
That was just kind of, and I know like they were backed up against the wall, like you know, there were people chasing them, but
that's true.
I don't know.
They would have been better off fighting their way out. I think.
I agree.
But I mean, obviously, this pushes the story forward. You know, you got to have some drama and the stakes got to raise. So
yeah, I agree. Man, this double splash page of like the prison though, where it's like. Yeah, it's hard when you're not looking at it on a 2-page view, but it's beautiful, man. It's very nice. Actually, well, I have the book, but it's on the shelf over there. So,
are you talking about the exterior or the interior?
Well, just the orange sky and stuff. It's a really cool double splash page.
Yeah, no, I see that. It is really cool.
Yeah. Well, and then the final splash page of like this big, like fugly looking guy who's just like
that one I really liked.
Yeah, that kind of really harkens back to the Spawn stuff that he did, where it's just like a satanic looking dude with like spikes all over him and a mean
he even had like a
face.
spiked nut cup on.
I know a spike. What's that called? Man, I forget what Knights War. There, it's like
really? It's like a real thing.
Oh yeah, it's a cod piece. He has like a spiked cod piece. That's what it's called. Yeah. You've never heard of this word?
I've never heard of this. Yeah,
cod
this is like
piece?
the nice way of saying.
Yeah, that's like that's your like crotch
nut cup.
Yeah, nut cup.
Because it sounds so terrible.
Maybe I'm basic. I don't know.
No, that's what they call it, man. Like the knights used to have it. That's part of their armor. Is their cod piece. Yeah,
as it should be. I mean, you got to protect your jewels.
Spiked, man. He does. It's not enough to protect him, man. He wants to take revenge on you if you try and kick him or something like. Yeah, it's not enough to protect him. He wants you to get spiked in the foot. So
I'm hoping with this. When I saw that, I was disappointed that was the last page because I swiped to the next page, and I'm like, oh, it's over.
Yeah, this was a really short read,
right? It went
right?
really fast, and so the only thing I'm hoping for,
book,
yeah. What I'm hoping though is that they take full advantage of this because I mean on this last page, I mean if we're all like taking a peek at it and whatnot for the listeners, there's like a bunch of guys, they're like standing there with their arms crossed and everything, different shady looking characters, and then this towering like giant guy with like the spikes on him and everything. So it looks like a big fight's gonna take place. So I'm hoping that the book just comes out, boom, they're just kicking some ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do think that it's gonna pick up right where it left off, where they're in a big fight, because you have to think like this is gonna be published in a graphic novel where it's like you this is just halfway through the book and you turn the page and that's where you're at.
Yeah, no flashback stuff or going back to something else and then jumping back to it. I want to get right back to that.
They're not going to pull a Walking Dead on you and just like leave you on a cliffhanger and then we're going to start the whole next episode somewhere else where nothing happens.
Show Morgan doing his moves with his stick in the field or something.
No one needs to see that dude fucking around with a stick for an hour, man. I want to know what's going on with Rick and the crew. So man, the Kitten Assassin too, man, I gotta say, just this is a character that just like I love, man. It's just so weird and awesome. I don't know. It's great.
You need to find the action figure online.
General Frost is his name.
General Frost is awesome. Yeah,
and he has this levitating like mobile or whatever. It's just so, I don't know, man. And it looks like if you look at the page with him, it looks like he kind of has a crew or a squad.
Yeah, like a squadron or something.
Yeah, of maybe other.
Kind of looks like a little speeder. Like a little
from Star Wars. Yeah, it sort of does have that look to it. So yeah, it's just cool, man. So yeah, overall, okay, before we rate this, do want to let you know we have a rating system here where we rate and review the comic books that we read. So I will play a track that explains our rating system so you understand where we're coming from.
If a comic book is bad, we rate it as blasphemy. If the book is good, we give our blessing. If the book is not bad, not good, but just kind of meh, we rate it as stuck in purgatory. If the book is great, we rate it as holy. And if a comic book exceeds all standards of awesomeness, we rate that book as salvation.
All right, and that being said, what would you guys rate this book?
I'm just gonna go off like what it's been so far. I mean, I call it a holy. I mean, there's parts here and there, like you said, that they could be explained better. Or, like they could name something different, but like I feel like that's really nitpicky. And just for like the team that's working on it, this is awesome. It's a good, really good book.
Yeah,
and the unexpectedness of everything that's in it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. What about you?
I'm still on Salvation with it. I really looked forward to this. When I saw Greg posted up on Twitter that hey, in Reborn 3s, I was like yes, and you had already sent it to me anyway. But I looked forward to it. I was excited about it, so I would definitely give it like a low Salvation for sure.
Yeah, I give it a high holy. I think it's not perfect by any means. There are a couple of things that I have to say that are like kind of bother me a little bit, but overall it's a very, very great book. I think like it's one of my favorite books that's being written right now, actually. So yeah, I mean, even though sometimes I'll bring up things just for argument's sake, just to sort of critique it from, because I don't want us to just sit here and, jerk off the writers all hour or something. But like I want to take like you have to look at it from a critical point of view too.
Absolutely.
And like kind of be credible about it. But that being said, like it's one of my favorites and it's really good. So awesome. Yeah, so holy Salvation around there, pick it up. All right, so we can move things along here. What you want to talk Green Valley now?
Yeah. Just to kind of recap Green Valley for those that aren't up on that. The Knights of Calodia, pretty cool ass kicking guys. About four of them, and they're wisecracking. Knights. They're heading up against a bunch of barbarians. They're just kind of talking amongst themselves like no big deal. They fight the barbarians and kick their asses, and then they move forward. Barbarians come back. They ransack their town / village, castle, whatever you want to call it. Take out like pretty much everybody that they love and care about. The main character's wife or girlfriend, soon to be wife, she gets killed and everything, and so they ended up being on dire straits. Out living in the sticks by themselves, broken men from what they used to
hoarding
be.
Things.
Yeah, they're just broken
talking about
men.
the glory days.
They're living out the Golden Girls lifestyle together. They're just.
But yeah, and so they're like for like a year they're doing this, and to the point where one of them, their leader, is thinking about killing himself for the most part, just walking off into the lake and just with all his armor on and killing himself.
Yep.
This kid shows up as they're arguing amongst themselves and whatnot, as they regularly do, and says that he needs their help. The Knights of Calodia to come back to Green Valley with him and assist. They leave. To go help him. As they're wandering through, they come across what might be a dragon or something like that or whatever. They get to the town. The people aren't even greeting them like with a hero's welcome or anything because they're all so scared of what's been happening to them and stuff. So they're hanging out inside their homes.
Right.
And we open with the one of the boy who came to get their help. His sister is being harassed by this guy who is dressed pretty much in regular clothes like ours.
Yeah, and that was
so that caught me off guard.
Yeah,
bad.
Just seeing him in a hoodie,
and he had like a tablet or like a smartphone in his hand. It was like clear, see-through, shiny tablet, and that's kind of where we pick up in book 3.
So this basically turned into a time travel book, right?
Right.
Well,
that's what you think off the bat, but it could be
I think
different.
It is because like there's a part in it where he's like no, you guys die soon.
Like you guys died like 1,000 years ago, right?
Yeah, so he's like, I'm not worried about y'all. But yeah, he has what looks like the smartphone from like Iron Man, like the see-through glass smartphone that Iron Man uses. But yeah,
iPhone 8.
Right, yeah. Yeah, iPhone 37, or whatever. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, so they call him like, and that was, so they call this dude like the sorcerer, Cyril or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And so they think he's a sorcerer and has magic, but really it's like tech gadgets.
It's just technology.
Yeah.
They don't know anything. They don't know any better to know that it's not magic.
He looks like one of the members of Metalocalypse, kind of. Have you ever seen that show?
I've seen pieces of it.
Yeah. He kind of looks like
I kept thinking of Grandma's
Adult
Boy.
Swim.
If you've seen that.
Yeah. That's one of my all-time favorite movies from back in the day.
Because this dude, like the sorcerer, is really just super nerdy guy.
Yeah. Cyril, he has like a hoodie on, like a leather jacket kind of thing.
Long hair,
boots
some
and
scruff.
jeans.
Yeah.
He
just looks like your typical
some skinny jeans
like
and some steel tip boots.
Yeah, he looks
steel-toe
like
boots
a hipster. Like
totally.
Yeah, something like that. So
I've seen this dude in Austin. I swear.
Repeatedly.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy how what he does to them though, like when they get into a fight, one of them jumps into the air and he basically blows a hole through this dude's chest, like all the way through him.
Yeah.
Through I can't remember his name, but the wisecracking one that shoots arrows and everything. I forget his name at the moment. I apologize, guys. But he blows a hole right through this dude.
But he's happy about it.
Well, I think he'd been wanting to die from that previous book.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like.
Well, but he was happy that he died because of like what he called magic, right?
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Because didn't he kept talking about magic, but none of them believed him?
None of them believed it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like
so he died happy knowing magic existed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that's their fight.
Yeah, that his fellow knights are going to be going up against magic,
and true magician.
It's like a big deal to him, to where it's like a real challenge. They're living up to their name that they're known for or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, man, dude, that's a brutal like hole in his chest too. That's crazy.
I don't even know how he lived to like sit there at the end. You know how you take those last cliche breaths, like, delete my browser history from me. Just die.
But this is like you're missing half of your body.
He has no internal organs in his chest. He's just like taking that last breath. He shouldn't have had it. I don't know. It's funny.
Well, and so that kind of makes me think too that because they heard a dragon when they're on the way to this town with this boy, right? But we don't see the dragon. So I'm wondering if this dude like has a plane or like some sort of like
something loud that he brought with him. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
A vehicle of some sort.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be... This book has surprised me time and time again, man. It's just... the first time I opened it up, I was not stoked because I'm really not into the whole, like, knights and kings era stuff. It's just not... I'm more into, like, superheroes or other... I don't know. I'm just not into that era. Yeah. But the back and forth between the knights got me going. It was like a little bit of like wisecracking, smart alecky banter, and it just that made the first issue entertaining. The second issue, it still really doesn't seem like there's very much supernatural going on. And you find out
build up.
Yeah, well, and then you find out there is supernatural stuff, and that kept it going for me. And now in this, some guy that's clearly from way past our time right now shows up, and in the future, obviously like there's some kind of time travel involved or something of that nature. So that pulls me in even further, and like, man, they've got me really into it, man. I'm enjoying this one, so it's a lot of fun. Had you read the first couple issues?
So I had not. And Mondo, you kept saying that, hey dude, you got to read this because it's like right up your alley. And when I was excited for this week for both of these books. And when you were right on, man. When I first started reading this, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and the artwork, man. I mean, what do you think of the art?
Oh, dude,
I was going to ask you.
It's fantastic.
I love that page where he freezes them, and the horses are kind of floating in the air and everything.
A little blurry.
Yeah,
but it's not. Normally, I don't like those blurry pages.
Yeah,
this was my favorite, where like this chick is like on fire, or like I don't even know what's happening here.
It's his vision of his fiance.
Oh, is that what?
That died in the first book. He's like envisioning her.
But it's so cool, man. Like I don't even know how you go about drawing that.
She looks like the Phoenix, but just burning.
Totally,
like actually burning.
Yeah, it's a very, very nice page.
This very last image here on the last page is a little cliche, because you can see he's like in the Jesus pose, you know, like their friend that died. So I mean, bleh, whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, people put in imagery and stuff, and that's cool. But
yeah, it's kind of a, I don't know.
It's kind of cliche. Like,
it is
image,
a little bit
so.
cliche, but you know.
Otherwise, yeah, but like, fantastic.
I liked a lot of the images in this when he was fighting them, and especially like how he was kind of talking. It was cool to have the contrast of them talking and speaking in that night speak, the very, very, you know, clean, very formal, and then he's like, "Dude, don't do it, bro. I'm gonna, you know what I mean?" He's like talking I
like that contrast, you know, like the contrast, and And that was one thing that I thought was really well done, because since I hadn't read those previous books, when I saw the sorcerer, I was like, wait, this dude's wearing jeans.
Yeah.
Like, is this wrong? Like, is this an error in the art? Am I like missing the story? But then like, you know, like I understood like what was happening after that.
Yeah. I mean, that was a pretty cool reveal. Like just to see that.
Just that page when he's just like blowing that hole in the guy and he's floating there. It's like, boom, and you just see all the power flying right through his body and the light and everything. Like all those pages like that, they were pretty sweet.
Dude, and what I really liked too was like, so when they're battling the sorcerer guy, and this old dude is like, dude, I'm gonna just beat your ass right now. Like starts taking off his armor, and like Cyril's like gadgets are like kind of malfunctioning at this point. Blip, blip, you know, because this guy looks like pretty weak. Like he's like your typical weak villain that just has like really cool stuff.
He has tech.
But like if he didn't have tech, like he would just be like this dude's wife could probably beat him up or whatever, you know. Like,
I hate to compare it, but he kind of reminds me of like a like Loki in like the movies.
Yeah,
in the Avengers kind of. It's like
just that
not to knock Loki or anything. If those that like Loki,
no, he's
a cool villain, but he looks like that, where he looks very like somebody that's not intimidating, but if he has something awesome, magic. If he's got if he's got the Tesseract, he's gonna give you some problems.
Well, he uses his mind, not his know, he's not a physically threatening person, but he's got other ways of being threatening.
He strikes me as that kind of person a little bit.
Definitely.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
a good compare.
Yeah, so yeah, man, the art almost reminds me of Reborn too in certain parts.
I agree. I was going to ask, what's the creative team on this?
Oh yeah, I guess we should say that. So the creative team, Max Landis is the creator and the writer. Giuseppe Comensali is the penciler, and he did the cover art, he or she. Cliff Rathburn is the inker, and Jean-Francois Bellier is the colorist.
Boulier.
I think it's Bollier.
Bollier. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So, great creative team. I love the expressions that people have. It really gives you like nice characterizations. The guy. So we have one of the nights. He exaggerates things, and you can kind of tell he's a doofus, you know, and just he's full of shit, and you just know it.
He's told stories that he's killed dragons before, and then when they think they actually encounter one, he's like, I got a confession, guys.
Yeah.
I've never killed or seen a dragon.
Yeah.
It was like a what do you say? It was like a cow.
He's like, it's kind of like a sick cow or something.
It was less of a dragon and more of a cow.
Yeah, and I love humor. Like, I love comedic writing, and I think they did it like subtle but well. And like, so the art style too, I think it's hard to get, sometimes when you get super rendered stuff, like super realistic pieces, it's hard to show emotion and expression.
I agree.
But this artist does a really good job at balancing the two. Like, I think that's a really difficult thing to do. So
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's kind of hard to keep it. Yeah, you want to keep it a little comic booky.
Agreed.
And talking more about his characterizations, also, so like the main guy is very like stoic. He has a very like Rick Grimes kind of look to him, where he's like, you know, this guy's a badass, like certified badass, and you know you don't want to mess with him, and you know he probably doesn't talk a whole lot. And the jokester has those features that kind of lend to that. So just all the characterizations, even this bad guy, man, you can kind of like the Loki thing. You really get a sense of like what kind of person he is just by how he looks.
Yeah.
I mean, like an artist doing that, that's like that's really good to be able to do that. So yeah, A+ work on the artwork.
Yeah, I dug it.
What's the deal with this black panel on page 18? There's just a black panel at the bottom.
Yeah, I see that too. I
wonder if that's an error in the PDF or if that's like a real thing.
It's on page 18.
It could have just been like, this is where this dude blacks out. You
know? Yeah, but then the next page, there's a black panel at the top left as well.
Yeah, it does look weird.
That looks like an error. I think that's probably an error. So, yeah. So overall, what would you guys rate this one if you had to rate it?
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah,
I did.
I know. I feel like Dex this week because I'm like, I hate giving it like another one a holy or something, but that's how I feel.
But these are probably two of my favorite books out of all of them that I've read that we've done so far. Is The Green Valley and Reborn. I mean, they're probably two of my favorites, and I can't help it. I enjoy them probably the most so far. You know,
I agree. Yeah.
So I would have to give it probably about the same as I gave the last one. Probably a high holy, low salvation. And just the twist of it, like bringing in this futuristic stuff with this, somebody from our time with a piece of tech that's supposed to be magic, it's just like, I'm all in. I'm on board.
I honestly think it's about as good as Reborn. I think it's a holy as well. It's a really good book.
I don't know why but they do feel like very similar stories, or like I don't know what it's the artwork that reminds me. I mean,
visually they feel like similar stories. I
being
think
compared to Greg Capullo, like if you get that comparison, like you're doing it right, man. So
well, and especially if this artist probably isn't quite as well known or well renowned. I don't know that for sure, but they should be, and they probably will be after this. Yeah.
But I agree with Mondo. Like these two books and 7 to Eternity, I'm really enjoying too. But those 3 are probably like my favorite of what I've read in Image so far.
Yeah, I agree. 7 to Eternity. What a great that's a much more cerebral version of something like this. It's something like I read this once and I was fine. 7 to Eternity, I have to read that a few times. Yeah, because it's just something you really have to take in. There's a lot of small details that kind of get lost on you.
But I will say on some of these books though, just because they're so unexpected, like especially with the creatures, sometimes I'll have to keep my eyes on the page for a little bit just to figure out like what I'm looking at, because I feel like in some stories, some books that you read, you can just kind of glide through the story because you're expecting certain things, but you can't really stereotype these things.
Yeah,
it's a good point.
Yeah, that's true. Cool. Well, what else?
Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah, sorry.
Book. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And who read this one? You and me, right?
Yeah, for this week. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so the next book we have is Hadrian's Wall Part 4. That is written by Kyle Higgins, Alex Siegel, art by Rod Reese, and lettered by Troy Pateri. So first, right off the bat, turn the page to the first page. I love the breakdown of the creative team and how it's on a kind of like DOS system that really lends to like the dystopian, futuristic, not dystopian, but futuristic type. It
reminds me of like a Fallout.
It's exactly what it reminds you of is Fallout. Yeah. I'm waiting to see a Nuka-Cola bottle show up somewhere. Yeah, exactly. So we get some flashbacks, and this is going to be a really light recap. I didn't really write anything down for this, but we get a flashback of the main character, and he's talking to his coworkers about how there's some type of rebellion happening, and I'm not sure. This part kind of was lost on me, actually. It took me a couple times to read it, and I still don't understand. It's probably one of those things that's going to get brought into the coming issues where it's important, and I'll have to flip back to it. But did you understand much of this stuff at the beginning?
As far as like the two talking about the protest and everything in there?
Yeah.
I wanted to say that the guy in there looks like... The guy that ends up taking his wife. Is that who it is?
That could be, yeah.
I want to say, because I know they said that they worked together or something like that, and then they got a divorce, and then she went with him, and then he shot him 4 times, and then that's why he has a beef with him or whatever. So I think that's who it is.
Yeah, so then we find out that he's having an affair with this girl, I think it's kind of implied, and him and his wife split up, and we get the title page. Then we jump to kind of the murder mystery going on where this main character, do you remember his name?
The main character?
I don't remember his name, honestly.
I jotted it down. I failed.
No, this is totally Dex's book.
Yeah, it is.
It was.
I mean, I remember he really likes this story.
Yeah. Well, and I like it, but basically this guy's trying to figure out there was a murder and it's kind of a murder mystery on a spaceship that's out in space. So all the way up until this point, it's just been this guy kind of questioning everyone on the ship and trying to figure out, who murdered this guy, and his ex-wife is the main suspect right now. And I've been getting a little bored with it, honestly, just because like the whole whodunit murder thing is like, it's cool, but when I see a space epic like Hadrian's Wall, I'm expecting there to be like maybe some more spaceships or laser guns, or I don't know, man. Like that's
aliens.
It's definitely a slow burn.
Yeah, it is.
And his name is Simon. I just figured out. Yeah, Simon. Okay. His wife's name is Annabelle, and then the guy that gets murdered was Edward.
Okay.
Yeah. Wasn't it like an overdose or like drugs, something?
Yeah. Well, he was drugged and then thrown out of the airlock into space.
Now, in this issue, we see, I don't know if it's like, is this a foreshadowing or is this like actually happened? It looks like Annabelle.
Oh, no, that's what he was just saying. That's how I think it happened.
Okay, that was him breaking it down. Okay, I was like, are they doing a reveal already? Is there going to be a twist later? Okay, so that's what that was.
Yeah.
That makes sense then.
And then at the end of the book, they get boarded by an opposing spaceship from Theta, I believe is the name.
Yeah,
and
the scientist lets him on, and then like, okay, make sure you guys don't make any sudden movements. I got some guests coming. And it's like, what?
Yeah, and it's people with laser guns and spaceships and stuff, spaceship boards. And that's the point where it's like, I got a little more excited about this book was when these guys showed up, because it was like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting to the space epics type stuff. And like, there's this cool armor and they're holding these guns. And like, I feel like there's going to be maybe some more intricacies, because right now it seems like they're a convoy out in space trying, and it's almost like a rig or something with a big crew. So,
and I didn't mind this book overall. I mean, I love a good espionage or mystery and a slow burn at times, especially when it's like a space opera kind of thing, Mass Effect or something like that.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. I didn't get the chance to read the first three initially when Dex read them, and then he did his write-ups on them in one of the earlier episodes. But then once I read this one leading up to today, I went back and read the first couple, and I was like, okay, I can get into this. It's a real slow burn, but I enjoyed just kind of like, oh, what's this gonna? What's this? Who's gonna do?
Yeah,
so I enjoyed that, honestly.
I can do the slow burn sometimes, man. I read enough fast-paced stuff during the week that it's cool with me to have something that's a little bit slower. And it's a little tough sometimes because there's such a large cast for this book that I do have time. I do sometimes have a difficult time remembering characters' names and like who they are and what their role is in the story and stuff like that. But I think that may be due to just the sheer volume of books that I read every week,
Sure.
and like it's like I get so many different stories I'm keeping up with.
It's understandable though,
But I don't know. How do you feel about like the number of characters in this book?
There are a lot being introduced here and there. For the most part, I think I felt like I followed along. I didn't remember everybody's names, but I know, okay, that's that douchebag who wants him out.
Right.
That's his wife. That's the captain of the ship, whatever.
Then there's General Sulu.
Yeah, they do a very good job.
You see him? Yeah. He looks like Sulu.
They do a really good job of making people look very distinct and everything, so you can't mistake anybody, but it's just a matter of getting the names down as I read further. But yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part. Yeah.
Cool. Getting to the art, Andrew, what do you think about the artwork in this?
Man, so I'm gonna be that guy, but
be that guy.
No, be it.
It's okay.
I absolutely don't like it.
I'm not a big fan,
and I'm not saying that this person is not like a good artist, because obviously it's very rendered. Like there's talent there, but
yeah. And for non-artists out there, when you say something's really rendered, what do you mean?
Okay, so when I mean rendered, like I'm talking about realism. So there's. In my opinion, there's just comic books and they just range in terms of style. Like you can have super stylized, fantastical, like not true to anatomy stuff, and then you can have like hyperrealism where it's like almost like a photo.
Right.
And that's my big problem with this book, is not even necessarily the style, but like the lack of action in the poses. Like there's this panel where this girl is hitting this other. I'm sorry, like I didn't.
She's hitting Annabelle in the back of the head with the bottle.
Annabelle, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's just like a smack, like in word, like in her arm is like, it looks like she's touching her head with the microphone. Like there's no, this breaks all the like Marvel rules of like how to make an action pose. And like just like
it doesn't. There's no movement in it whatsoever.
Yeah, and the way that the other two stories are good at showing expressions, these faces are almost expressionless. Like
it's not a
it's
very
like a drama.
Yeah.
Where all the other stuff is more like an action adventure.
But even in drama, I feel like there's still like subtle acting, especially in the faces, and like I can't tell what anybody is thinking in these. And just for me, I think this is the type of artwork that would make me just not pick up a book.
Yeah, it's definitely, I don't know, man. It's definitely it's more, I don't want to say modern because I hate it when people say modern.
This is what it looks like to me, and I hope that I'm wrong, or like, and I hope I'm not being offensive or something by saying this to the artist, but it looks like a bunch of photoshopped like pictures that were drawn over in Photoshop.
Oh yeah,
like that's 100% what it looks like to me.
It's not very well. It is very stylized, but it's not very. I don't know. There's just something off about it, I guess.
And you can see, like, even in like this last page here, like this is just a texture that's up for that grate you see at the top, or that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
And so just like that type of stuff, like, it's just not my thing. And some people may be super into that. I just think that there's better ways to tell that story.
I'll jump on board with you. I didn't find it that disappointing or anything like that. I mean, then again, the art definitely more up your alley and everything. But I do agree that it wasn't like my favorite. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the thing. Like in a story that's as slow paced as this and relying on drama, I feel like you have to, at least your facial features have to like emote, your characters have to say something, or like the lighting in the scene has to be more dramatic. And they do some things where like somebody's like almost completely in shadow or things like that. That's kind of cool. They almost go noirish with it, but there's still like, there's no super dramatic lighting or things like that.
Like, I think that they would have used more of a noir thing, because this is
it's a murder mystery.
It's a noir, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's exactly that.
Tim Sale and Jeff Loeb were all about telling stories in that noir fashion, where it's like they're flats, there's no shading, and I mean, but they were very like, there was still a lot of movement in the shots and stuff like that, and it just, I mean, like this, I don't know, man, there's just not much movement at all, and
they use a lot of color in the backgrounds, like.
But even that is like, it's like you said,
it's mute though.
And it's like they took just like texture templates in Photoshop or something and just paint it over, like, over them with opacity
and that's
brushes.
Why you get this kind of like these muddy colors a little bit,
Perfect.
And
perfect description.
I do feel like there are certain panels that would look cool as like a poster or something, like this splash page of like the spaceship from Theta, like that's a cool looking page.
I agree, that's my favorite page actually, and I think it's because it's probably
the brightest,
mostly made up too. There's not a lot of like that I can see, a lot of like textures in terms of like they didn't trace over something for this, you know what I mean? And I hate to be like so I don't know, hawkish about this, but that's something that really super bothers me. I read comics for the imagination, and that's why this page is so cool. It's because it's very imaginative, very very like tons of colors. Yeah, man. I feel like, I don't know, I go back and forth on the art. This is one thing too where like the colorist, I feel like the use of color is well done, like they're reds and blues, and they desaturate in certain times, like for drama, and I think they do that really well. But again, just like the choice of lighting and even rendering, like some of these forms don't feel proper to me, so hopefully sorry to be that guy, but that's just
apologize.
That's where I'm at.
No, it's good. I mean,
and that's part of the reason like I didn't read this book this week, because I know I can't get into this story. And I know that's we're here to recap stuff for you guys, but I was like,
no, man,
you can't like everything, and
and it's very much like a preferential thing with you and the artwork too. I mean, I feel like, well, and it's a lot harder for you to get into this because you are an illustrator and you have specific style sets that you really enjoy. But like you aren't really, I mean, you draw, but like you aren't like as specific on like, okay,
right.
It doesn't bother you quite as much, I guess.
No,
what I mean.
I got past it and for the most part, but
and that's the thing. That's why it's difficult to talk about style, because it's so it's so subjective. Like we're all three of us could see the same thing and like have way different reactions to it. But like what I can kind of say is just like, at least in terms of like the acting and the emotion and like the posing, like to me they're subpar for a book by Image.
Yeah, I mean, but Image publishes a lot of books, and I mean,
totally.
I'm just hoping it goes somewhere. Like
I think it
kicks
will,
up
man.
a notch. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The story, the writing chops are really good. I think. I mean, like they're fun, and it's a very specific type of story that they're telling. So even if the art throws me off a little bit, I can still fall back on the story and enjoy that.
I give you the same thing with like a video game. If a game art wise isn't quite up to par, as long as the story is good, I can usually keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of indie games will have just that. They spent more money trying to tell a story to you. Journey on PlayStation. That's a great indie game where I played that in like a 3-hour span, and by the end of it, I was like, I felt like an emotional connection. I was like, wow, I did something. That was kind of cool.
Right.
So, and it wasn't like the most rendered game with using all the electronical power of the Xbox One or the PS4, but it was good, and it made me feel something. So if you can get something out of something like this, if they go somewhere with it, I can forgive the art as long as the story takes me somewhere.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree.
But if it lacks in that category and the art's horrible, you're gonna have to like handcuff me to go with you on this journey. You know what I mean? So I'm with Andrew on that as well, but I'm a little less bothered by it.
I agree. So real quick, what will we rate this one?
I mean, I don't think it's stuck in purgatory. I would say just for the story alone of the potential of it and where it's going and how it kind of captured me as far as the mystery of it and everything, I would give it a blessing.
Cool. Andrew?
Man, and so without reading the story, I can't give it a real one, but just on the art, like, it's a low purgatory for me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nice.
I want to say...
It's okay, dude. Hey,
I have this fear that I'm gonna like meet the artist on this someday, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, man, heard you talking trash about my artwork."
No,
and I'll be like, that was some other dude, man.
No, for all you know, he might shake your hand, and be like, "Hey, thanks for the honesty, dude."
Yeah.
Dude, if an artist got this far and they're drawing for Image Comics,
they don't care what I say.
Another thing is if an artist got this far and is drawing for Image Comics, they went through critiques at art school, and we both know what that's like. They can be pretty harsh sometimes.
Well, and I feel like Image, you're not going to draw a book for Image if you're if you're not great. If you have to be skilled in order to draw for them. Yeah,
well, and just artists in general. I mean, to be a professional artist, you've endured some pretty harsh criticisms at times, and you have to be strong and know how to deal with that. So I give it a blessing. I think it's maybe a low blessing. I think it's an alright book.
It's okay.
I think it's it's if you're into the whodunit type thing and you like spacey stuff, it's probably for you. If you're a professional illustrator, you might and you just can't get over art that's like bothers you, probably not the story for you. But if you don't mind art as much and you're more story driven and you like mysteries and stuff, then I think it's something that you might get some enjoyment out of. So
if anything bugged me was this dude's haircut. This captain guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very much.
Like this bowl cut with a part in it. It's like, dude, did someone like the blind guy on the ship cut your hair? It's like,
yeah.
That's the style in space. Man.
I love it.
Yeah,
the future holds so many possibilities for fashion.
All right, cool. So that's about all the time we got this week for the book reviews. We just hit an hour, which is like unusual for us to actually normally we're either like under or over. So cool. So I will let everyone know if they want to find us. We're at Nerd Church Radio everywhere. Where can people find you, Andrew?
I'm at Andrew Southern on Instagram and Twitter.
Okay, and Mondo?
Yeah, at Nerdy Ramondo on Instagram and Twitter as well.
Awesome. And did you have anything you wanted to mention for the listeners? I feel like you brought something up, Andrew.
Well, I usually give just a shout out to I listen to a ton of music and I look at a ton of artwork, and so I like to give. I always like discovering new things, and so there was a guy by the name of Lionel Castellani, maybe. So it's Castellani. And I just found some of his pencils. I know he's illustrated for some books because I looked him up on Comic Vine. But do yourself a favor and find him on Instagram. Check his art out. It's super cool, man. And I'm a process junkie. I love looking at it. So check him out.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Did you have anything for the listeners?
No. If you guys want a game or anything like that, hit me up on PlayStation Network as Dirty Dimes, and also on Xbox Live as Dirty Dimes as well. If you want to jam on anything, Overwatch, whatever, I'm usually playing something, so give me a shout.
Very cool. Awesome. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and sign us off, and I will say peace be with you.
And with you.
And have a great week, everyone.